you deal with being an adult and you're still having 12-year-old responses, most people can't catch that.
Right.
Most people can never watch that person have a 12-year-old response and say, I know what's wrong with him emotionally. He's 12 years old. He didn't deal with some stuff back then. Let's help him deal with it, talk about it, go through it so he can be this 42-year-old man that he really is, right? Emotionally.
Right.
Where he could or should be.
Right.
Yeah, it's, as adults, we're learning. And a lot of the things we're able to sit here and talk about are things that we learned as adults, pretty much.
Right.
So just imagine if someone would have shared this information at this magnitude when we were kids.
Right.
How far mentally and emotionally we would have been better off. As adults, we're learning. And a lot of the things we're able to sit here and talk about are things that we learned as adults, pretty much.
Right.
So just imagine if someone would have shared this information at this magnitude when we were kids.
Right.
How far mentally and emotionally we would have been better off.
Absolutely.
Now, granted, the experiences that I've had, going through them, had I not experienced them, I wouldn't know what I know now.
Right.
But it's beneficial to be able to pinpoint, I see something wrong here. Watching how often do you watch your children? How often do you watch their body language?
Right.
How often do you watch their mood swings?
Mm-hmm.
Are you paying attention to how often they're isolating themselves?
Right.
Are they trying to close the door more often? Are they being more private? Are they hiding more?
Right.
Being more secretive, don't want to talk. You have to engage them. Stop letting these children, teenagers, I don't care if they're 17, 18.
Right.
Stop giving them the room to walk away all the time. Well, he got an attitude today, so I'm not going to deal with him. Go on, do your own thing. That's the worst thing we could keep doing.
Right.
Because when you dismiss them, you're giving them room to keep doing whatever it is they're doing. But if you pull them out of it and you engage them,
right. Absolutely.
you will find out sometimes these conversations, and they'll give you bits and pieces. But you can get more information out of them when you go reach for them.
Absolutely, because a lot of times that kid is pulling away because they want you to come after them.
Right.
They want to know that they are loved. They want to know that they're important. And
somebody cares. Somebody sees that something's going on with me. I can't talk about it.
Right.
I feel like I can't talk about it, but I need you to look at these actions and come get me out of this.
Right. Absolutely. You know, for me, that's where I started writing. My coping mechanism when I was 11 years old was when I started writing poetry. So, and I know that you write also.
Right.
You know, and it was also your version of therapy too.
2nd grade, whatever age you are in 2nd grade, I started writing.
Okay. So yeah, I was in the 6th grade because we had just moved to Georgia.
Okay.
So I was in my own brand of trauma because I had transitioned from my friends. I was upset about that. Some things going on with my parents. I was upset about that. You know, and they were so busy living their lives and trying to create a life for my brother and I
that they forgot to come back and reach for you.
They didn't come back and reach for me. And so I had a lot of stuff going on inside of me. And as an adult, when I did that peeling back the layers, I figured out that a lot of where my panic attack trauma started, because the root of that is frustration. The root of frustration is unresolved anger. So, and
some of that frustration may have stemmed from when you moved.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, because I didn't want to move.
And no one talks to the teens or the kids when they're, as adults, when we're about to make a decision, we just do it.
Right.
And we expect everybody else to follow.
Well, it's like, we don't have no choice. You have to come with me.
Right.
I have to
But
take
instead
you
of
with
sitting down and having that conversation and saying, hey, Terrell, or hey, Imani, or hey, Xavier, I know this is not going to be easy for you, but we're considering this, this, and this. Because you got to include them. Again, it goes back to reaching for our children.
Right.
If we do not reach for them, these streets going to reach for them.
These
other kids going to reach for them.
Absolutely.
These gangs going to reach for them.
Yes.
Sure.
Human traffickers.
Human traffickers going to reach for them.
Right.
Drug dealers going to reach for them.
Mm-hmm.
You got people recruiting our kids. They looking at our kids every day trying to recruit.
Elementary schools, middle schools, you know.
Some of them in churches. Boy Scouts.
College.
Schools, whatever it is.
Right.
You got folks always on the lookout trying to recruit your children.
Absolutely.
Reaching for them, and all they want is that reach. So when they see somebody out there reaching, they go and they grab that hand because, oh, you reached for me. You saw me.
Right.
You saw I was going through something, and you came for me.
Right. And they, little do they know that that person only has some, you know, ill intention.
Right.
They have bad intentions, and they're looking to manipulate and take advantage of that need for somebody to reach for them.
Yeah.
You know, I just did my last segment was on human trafficking, and that is one of the main characteristics that pimps look for.
Okay.
They look for the vulnerability in a person to exploit it. You know, if that victim, male or female, is in need, is having trouble with their parent, then they step in
They
and
become
they
relatable.
become relatable. They try to be
Guess
that father
what, man?
figure.
I went through with my parents. I ain't
Yes.
had nobody there for me.
Yes.
I'll be here for you.
Right.
You can call me anytime.
Right.
You need something, I got you.
Right.
I didn't even see your last segment, but I know these are the conversations that they're having with our youth.
Right.
And instead, we should be having those conversations. If you need me, I got you.
Right.
I have to call my son out sometimes because he won't talk. He won't verbally talk about the things he's holding on to. So when I look at him and I sit him down, I'm like, I know you're hurting. And he won't say a word. Pretty much the whole conversation is me talking. But I'm calling out at him what I see. I know you're hurting. I know you're frustrated because of X, Y, and Z.
Right.
But guess what? You're not alone. And I'm here. But I don't end the conversation with that. Sometimes I share pieces of myself and my experiences if I went through something similar he went through. Or that he's going through. And so I'm reaching for him. And I tell him, you can't internalize this stuff. If you need to cry, when he lost his dog and my grandfather was his best friend, which was his great-grandfather. When he went through those experiences, initially I didn't pay attention to the fact that he didn't cry at the funeral. That I didn't see him shed any tears. Until we went to therapy and the therapist said he has not grieved. It did not dawn on me for months.
Right.
But when it finally came out of him, he was getting in trouble at school because he didn't know how to exert that pain. So when you talk about that, when we talk about grief, that's one of the main things we don't realize our kids are doing.
Especially our sons.
Our sons.
Because they process. Men are taught that it's not okay to be emotional.
You can't cry. Don't show an emotion. That makes you weak.
Right.
And I always gave my sons room to do that.
Right.
Now, but of course, I'm not going to have you crying here for no hour. At some point, you got to stop.
But that's everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
But I got to give you space to do that because if I can't emotionally let you release, you ain't going to do nothing but hold on to it.
Absolutely.
And become angry.
Absolutely.
Right? And many of our kids deal with grief. And we don't realize every day they're holding on to that grief. And whether it's them watching our relationships fall apart or someone walking away or losing a friend that's moved away, there are things they're not dealing with as teens, as youth.
Absolutely. Tiffany, this has been a very enlightening, powerful conversation, and I just really want to thank you for being here on Teen Scene with us this evening.
Yes, ma'am. Anytime.
And you're gonna have to come back.
I will.
You
Absolutely.
have to come back. Yeah.
Part 2.
Part 2, and then we want to get into your poetry too.
Yes.
So I still want to do our poetry, our little poetry slam. So
I can do that. I can do that.
So thank you, Team C. This is Miss D, and I'm signing off. This has been another amazing segment, and I hope you will join us. You can find us on YouTube and on Facebook at the Teen Scene Tech on the Terri Graham Radio Show.